It's been 48 hours since the reveal of Space Engineers 2, and while we're all super impressed with the new grid building systems, which means you can put small blocks onto large blocks, I'm making that sound simple, there is one detail, a rather prominent feature, that we need to talk more about. Yes, this is the announced story campaign for Space Engineers 2. Finally, we have a proper lore and narrative adventure with human-style NPCs in the Space Engineers universe. While you're watching this video, comment on what you think of this down below. Are you looking forward to a story in Space Engineers, or are you just not concerned about it? Some of you are just keen with the new building technology and features like planets, water and multiplayer, so I'm very interested in seeing what people think about this feature for the upcoming video game. In my video today, we'll go over story details and where we find the plot and narrative adventure of Space Engineers 2. There's also some cool details about the planets we'll eventually be able to play on, so stay tuned. Hello everyone, my name is Captain Jack. Welcome to my channel. I've been playing Space Engineers for well over 10 years, so please join me on this new adventure as we cover more of Space Engineers 2. We've got a lot to talk about with this new game, so hit that subscribe button to keep up to date on the game development news. If you want to come and talk to me about Space Engineers 2, my Discord link is on screen now, and I look forward to sharing the adventure with you all. Okay, let's go. Oh, don't forget, you can use the YouTube chapter system if you want to skip ahead, but you know, watch it all, it's kind of helpful. Our first major detail about the Space Engineers 2 story universe is it takes place in the Almagest system. This is the star system we've seen in the trailers for Space Engineers 2, and it's where the game takes place. This star system introduces the first ever story campaign in Space Engineers' history. According to developer Keen Software House, it will be complete with human NPCs and factions that bring the universe to life. One of the most common complaints about Space Engineers 1 is the game feels empty and void of life. I've seen many people say it over the last 10 years. The universe still feels empty even when we have drones flying around and cargo ships. For example, even with the new Contact update that introduced the Factorum ships, it still feels a bit void. You go on board these ships and they're just empty. Human NPCs would expand things a lot more. Other features of the Space Engineers 2 story universe will include trading with space stations, which we seem to already have in the first Space Engineers game. Hopefully that is expanded on quite a lot, as economy is rather basic at the moment. There'll also be challenging quests and an encounter with AI-driven ships that respond to player actions in games. Keen's goal with Space Engineers 2 seems to give purpose to player engineering skills. This is combined with a rich narrative that's filled with diverse characters and ancient mysteries. The news of ancient mysteries sounds super cool. I would love it if we could find relics and ancient ruins when we explore the Space Engineers 2 world. That'd be cool. One initial challenge of Space Engineers has always been people discovering the relic monument on Mars. Things like that really make a game more immersive in my opinion, and especially when you stumble across something maybe someone else has not found. So as mentioned, Space Engineers 2 takes place within the Almagest system. It's set in this mysterious star system that is where humanity arrives after its ambitious leap into the unknown. The Almagest system is located 10,000 light years from Earth. In the year of 2380, humanity launched the Bering project. This was a big, ambitious endeavour. The goal was to send pioneers across space and forge a new destiny among the stars. The Almagest system was chosen not out of necessity, but as a testament to human capability and the spirit of exploration. Beneath the surface of scientific curiosity lay a more profound motivation, the desire for a new frontier, free from the constraints of Earth's governments and societal structures. On screen you can actually see a glimpse of planets and water in Space Engineers 2, which will eventually be found in the Almagest star system. We'll talk about the planets in just a second. The Bering project sent multiple waves of colonists on a one-way journey, knowing they would never return to Earth or see their families again. These brave explorers were driven by the promise of freedom and self-reliance, much like the settlers of the old world who ventured into uncharted territories. Their mission was to build a new future for humanity, unbound by the limitations of their past. Now, the Almagest star system is no ordinary star system. At its heart lies not one star, but two. The raging Almagest and its dimmer companion, which is called the brown dwarf Delphos. Orbiting this unusual pair are three distinct planets: Verdant Verdure, which is the Earth-like potential, red and dusty Chemic, a reminiscent of Mars, and the enigmatic water world Biblios. Biblilos, however you want to pronounce that, I'm probably butchering it. It's Byblos. So there we have it, these are the first three planets that will come to Space Engineers 2. Don't forget, planets are on the Space Engineers 2 game development roadmap. In Vertical Slice 2, which we can just refer to as Major Update 2, planets will arrive. I imagine it will just be Verdure, or Verdure, and Chemic first. I'm never going to get the pronunciation of his names. And then the likes of Biblios will arrive in Vertical Slice 3, the water update. Again, Biblios is the water world. It would make sense if it arrived in the water update. I don't see the point of adding it in Vertical Slice 2 if it's not got water, which is like a core feature. Within the Almagest system, players will encounter diverse groups, each with a vision for the frontier. And we've actually got details on some of the human NPC factions in-game. First up, we've got Astronauts Without Borders, which embody the ideals of cooperation. Then we've got the militaristic Legion of Engineers, which stands ready to defend humanity's progress. We've then got the isolated Ilikite communities, religious isolationists, and the Boatmen. There's also a mysterious cult born from tragedy, which add intrigue and danger to the player journey in the game. These factions actually sound really cool, though I imagine we won't be seeing a lot of them until the story campaign and human level NPC features are finished within Space Engineers 2. Personally, I do wonder if we'll see alien NPCs as well, not just humans. It could be cool to have some more weird and wonderful aliens out and about. Humans are not everything in space. For the first time in Space Engineers, you'll be able to interact with NPCs throughout your adventures. These characters, which range from allies and pioneers to adversaries, all have their own agendas. They play pivotal roles in advancing the narrative of the game. This is done by offering missions and enriching the history of Almagest. As players explore Space Engineers 2's story and narrative, they'll be able to discover traces of something unexpected. Someone apparently was here before. Now, players apparently are going to have to use their engineering skills and critical decisions to determine the success of humanity's boldest expedition. It's kind of teased like what secrets will await in the Almagest system, and that the player choices will shape humanity's future among the stars. Sounds cool, right? Now, venturing into the Almagest system, you as the player carry the hopes and dreams of all those who sought a fresh start. While Earth continues to progress in your absence, you and a fellow colonists are writing a new chapter in human history, pushing beyond known frontiers to build a future among the stars, governed by your own rules and ideals. Okay, let's talk about the actual story campaign. I think it's important to note there is a difference. In Space Engineers 2, you can experience the Almagest system in two ways. You can build freely in the sandbox mode, where you can forge your own stories and create without limits in this vast frontier. Or embark on a first ever story campaign where you'll uncover the system's deepest mysteries through a series of challenging missions. I do kind of hope that even in the first sandbox mode, there is maybe relics or these human NPCs that are sort of just chilling out there, like on an asteroid base or something like that, and you kind of encounter them. That could be cool. I hope that bit of a narrative is still there, because then almost like you're playing in the universe, even if you're not following the main story. I kind of like that. Now, the campaign follows brothers Miroslav and Ivan Sokol, who have just completed their 10,000-year voyage aboard the Calypso. They've emerged from their last cycle of cryosleep as the ship crossed the vast distance between Earth and humanity's new frontier. As they awaken from their long slumber, they face an immediate crisis. Their ship, which is the Calypso, is carrying this final wave of 500 settlers. It comes under attack. In moments, the vessel is torn apart, and while most passengers remain trapped in their cryosleep chambers, the Sokol brothers race against time to save those they can reach, leaving Miroslav and Ivan and the handful of souls they manage to rescue as the survivors of the Calypso's tragic end. As a player, you will take on the role of Miroslav Sokol, a brilliant space engineer with a troubled past, driven by a strong moral compass and desire to protect others. His younger brother, Ivan, equally skilled but more impulsive and morally ambiguous. He's always lived in Miroslav's shadow. I do love that we're getting this story detail early on. Now, the brothers' complicated relationship, strained by past events and new traumas, forms the emotional core of this interstellar drama that sort of unfolds throughout your journey. As the Sokol brothers face unprecedented challenges in this alien system, it's going to be a question of will their bond strengthen in the face of adversity, or will the pressure of their new reality drive them further apart. The fate of their relationship and potential the future of the Almagest star system hangs in the balance. To me, in some ways, this kind of suggests there may be decisions in the game. I'm not quite sure if it's like full-blown Mass Effect level decisions. Still kind of cool though. Now, as Miroslav grapples with the devastating loss of the passengers, he must navigate a complex social landscape that has emerged in the decade since the first colonists arrived. So I guess there we go, we have a decade since the first colony ship arrived, which explains these factions. The Almagest system is teeming with the hopes, dreams, and conflicts of settlers who venture here to establish a new civilization. As players, you prepare your tools, fire up your engines, and set it on the most ambitious adventure Space Engineers has ever offered. The Almagest system awaits. It's kind of a canvas of untapped potential and hidden wonders. Whether you're building freely in the sandbox or uncovering the mysteries of the story campaign, Amidst the stars, in the Almagist system, you have the chance to build not just structures and machines, but the foundation of a new civilization that embodies the spirit that drove humanity to reach for the stars. Okay, I appreciate that's a lot of information. Here are my thoughts on all of this, as I know some of you value my opinion, which I really appreciate. A campaign and story to Space Engineers 2 was totally unexpected. It's something I'm very much interested in and looking forward to. The idea of diving into a new story is really cool, and I think one of the benefits is that this story campaign can be best used in the finished game to sort of introduce players to the world of Space Engineers. I think this campaign can also introduce many people to the finished features of the game, like the 25cm grid building system, the new destruction, physics, water, and more. It can also have the ability to take you on a journey through the Almagist system, exploring the unique planets and such. I know this may sound odd, but I rarely visit the alien world in Space Engineers, so having an adventure that takes you to a world like this would be really cool. You're almost forced to spend some time on things that sometimes you don't think about. Of course, this can have some downsides, but we need to wait and see for the finished game and to see how it gets polished and what it comes out like. In some ways, I do hope that the story of Space Engineers 2, as in the campaign, does not become too much of a distraction to the developers. I say this as another ambitious game by the name of Star Citizen initially launched with just its original concept. The developers later announced that a standalone single-player game would be coming. Some players and backers of that early access project have been critical, as they see its resources from the original project being allocated elsewhere. This is of course a unique situation to that specific game, but you can see where a concern might come from. It does look like Keen Software House have got a good approach. Looking at the roadmap, the story campaign is one of the last things on the roadmap. It will likely be way after multiplayer, I hope. I mean personally, if we have story before multiplayer, I'm going to be disappointed. I kind of really want it. That's just me personally though. I know some are not fussed about it, and that's perfectly fine. Something I'm very excited about is the expansion of the narrative of Space Engineers. Putting in background story information outside of the campaign helps the game world feel alive. I think ruins and relics could go a long way to make this system feel like there was someone here before us, and I guess there kind of is. We've just learned that, colonists are in the Almagist system a decade before we arrive. That's if we are in the perspective of the brothers. This is where I really think some sort of alien NPC could also come in handy, sort of like discovering a secret alien race. For that, we will need to wait and see. But it's still rather exciting that Keen are working on features like this, and it sounds really cool. There is still a lot to talk about with Space Engineers 2. Some major issues of the game development need to be addressed with communication from Keen Software House. When I say this, I'm of course talking about the lack of Steam Workshop support. That is something that is annoying a lot of the community right now. I'll cover that in another video, but if you have some thoughts on it, please do let me know. As we end off this video, I've got a question for you. Have you already bought Space Engineers 2? If so, let me know in the comments. If you're waiting, also let me know what the feature of the game you are waiting for is. For now, I've been Captain Jack. Make sure to hit that subscribe button for updates on the development of Space Engineers 2, and I will see you very soon.